The Playboy Club London is hosting the inaugural Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championships. 12 top players, 3 different games, 1 poker extravaganza. From the Playboy Club London, we're bringing you the first ever season of the Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship. Our 12 players are competing in 3 different types of card games in this unique league format.
Group A first took to the table with No Limit Hold'em, and Luke Schwartz gave the verbal big time.
Look, we get started, man. I'm going to donk it off, I can tell. If I bust, I've made a huge mistake. I cannot bust to these fish. In Hold'em, I know how to rep everything.
Right, yeah.
Take it down with the queen eight. That's what I'm saying. Whoa! I did not do that. I'm one of the biggest online No Limit winners of all time, yeah?
Oh, genius, baby. Genius.
NL Hold'em all the way. No Limit soldier for life.
Jennifer Tilly was the first to exit, putting her under pressure in the league.
Good luck, everybody. See you tomorrow.
James Dempsey, playing his double-up card, took maximum points. Omaha next, and Tony G got off to a flyer.
What a start. Just winning every hand. On your bike.
But he could only make second, as Pescatori played his double-up card to perfection.
How can I miss that? Sweet!
She just doesn't let me win one hand. It's not even the river yet. You're already complaining. Thank you.
Let's have a look at the league standings after the first 2 games. It's Max Pescatori guaranteeing his seat at the final with 19 points. Dempsey on 16, almost certainly secure. Then it's a dogfight. Tony G with 8, Gianetti with 7, plus his double-up card. Luke Schwartz on 6, and Jennifer Tilly with 3 points, but still her destiny in her own hands with the double-up card to play. Group B have only played their No Limit Hold'em heat.
Always a sweat. Never easy.
They're trying to pick on the old guy.
I can't believe he pulled kings there.
You're just a pigeon.
Again, it was the player with the double-up card, Andrew Feldman, who took first place.
I deserve a bit of luck on TV.
Group B looks like this after one game. Feldman far and away the leader on 16 points. Frankenberger on 6, Carpenter on 4, Mike Sexton on 3, Sorel Mizzi on 2, and Timoshenko with no points. But Carpenter, Feldman, and Mizzi have all used their double-up cards, so the low ones are bang in trouble.
The 6 players in Group B are ready to start their Omaha heat, and I can tell you that Mike Sexton has decided to use his double-up card, which gives him twice as many points for this round. So, Mike, what were your thoughts behind using it now?
Well, my primary thought was I know all these guys are terrific No Limit Hold'em players and Pot Limit Hold'em players. Hold'em is their game. I'm hoping if they have a weakness, it's going to be Pot Limit Omaha, so I opted to use my double-up card today.
Well, good luck, all of you. Thank you so much.
So Mike Sexton has decided to play his double-up card. Max, that was after watching your performance. He decided it was a smart move for him.
Well, yeah, Mike is really good with all games, and especially in a mixed event like this one. I think that is his best chance to play it in this one.
I'm joined by Max Pescatori for commentary here. Max, this is actually a game you really like to play, Tournament Pot Limit Omaha. So you're pretty confident you know of a lot of the strategy here, which people aren't familiar with.
Absolutely. I mean, the experience came from a lot of play online, but also the fact that I really love the game. And when I was in Vegas and first started playing No Limit, then I decided to switch in a more interesting game, which is this one, because you have more thinking, more combinations, and I don't know, I really love it.
Take call.
Now look at the dynamics here. Andrew Feldman, who is the points leader with 16, is raised from the button with, I guess, a fairly weak hand. And Mizzy, who really needs points, has already used his double up card, has just flat called with kings in the big blind.
I would expect Sorrel to have an edge against Feldman, but I mean, just by judging from this kind of hand, I mean, this is a hand that the button does not matter. In Omaha, the button matters up to a certain point. The only problem by raising that you always have the edge of start betting, but I mean, at one point when you have so many blinds, 150 big blinds, who cares? You're putting your money with a, you know, horrible hand, I would say.
Remember, you have to use 2 cards from your hand, 3 from the flop. Mizzy's got a flush right now, and Feldman's actually drawing live. He's got 2 pair. And I mean, why hasn't Mizzy raised? Is it because he's going to get the most value with the second nuts? He has to be aware of the ace of diamond flush, or?
Oh, bad card for Sorrel.
And has Sorrel misplayed this here, or is he?
Absolutely not. I mean, he does not have the nut flush. He does not want to commit too many hands. I mean, look, there is 27,000 in the pot. Sorrel needs to finish in the top to actually do something. He cannot afford to get out right away. But he also has edge to play many hands. Now, he is correct by betting, because if he gets raised, he can pass. A nut flush cannot raise him. So it's actually a correct bet. 12,000 shows that from the very beginning that he knows the game very well.
Feldman, who has fallen, he's fallen backwards into the close hamper and had a soft landing here. The full house on the river.
It's hard though to raise right away. I mean, you can raise if you get re-raised, then you have to fold, so you can mini-raise probably.
34.
I think
34 is actually a good raise.
And the fact that Feldman has the 16 points, he is feels a little more liberal with getting trapped here. You know, he's not as scared, right? As
Absolutely.
I know you're full. It's okay.
If he folds, it's a very good fold.
The only reason Sorrel would think about that Andrew might be bluffing is just the dynamics of Feldman deciding he could push around the guys who need
right
points.
away. Yeah, that's true.
And are those the dynamics we've got here with Feldman having 2 players, Carpenter and Mizzy, on his left, who've already used their double up card? Nothing but the top 2 spots is good for them. Can he push them around early?
Well, not really, because they know they have to finish first and second. So that's why probably Sorrel played, and he wants to get the most hands played, because as you see, he's very knowledgeable of the game, and we are saying that after one hand, but I know him, I played with him many times, and he probably feels like he has the edge, and so you will see him a considerable amount of pots, and so
the guy to push around is Mike Sexton. Right? And because you were in that spot, tell us the secret. How do you crack Mike Sexton? What should the other players be doing against Mike Sexton that they did or didn't do against you?
In a sit and go, it's really tough to knock him out, because he's conservative and he's going to be smart. He's going to let you bet. So, you know, it's not something that you're afraid to lose the whole thing, but you're definitely not counting on going out next. So if you're thinking, I'm going to make a spot, I'll wait till Mike Sexton get out, forget it, you know. He's not getting out 5th, he's not getting out 4th, he's probably not getting out 3rd, but so you just have to play your game, and then hopefully you can get him on a hand, and you know, or maybe someone else is going to knock him out.
All right, well, we've had Andy Frankenberger raise this early up with the 2 kings and the ace, and a re-raise by Ben Carpenter on the button. Is it a huge hand, King, Queen, Jack 10?
Absolutely. Not a good flop.
Is better than King, King, Ace 4 sort of overall? Not heads up, but...
Much better, much better, because it plays much better.
It plays better. And Frankenberger, now that Ben Carpenter has re-raised, and if he bets the flop...
Yeah, he's...
Frankenberger has to think, well, he could have aces, he could have something else. Can Frankenberger play here?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I don't know, I mean, he's got to call one time. I don't like the bet of 16,000 with that kind of flop.
Too small?
No, I mean, I don't like it because you really miss everything. There is no reason. We're really at the beginning.
You think Carpenter can just re-raise their 17K and then just check?
Yeah.
Give up?
Yeah, it's okay to give up every once in a while. There is nothing wrong with it.
And you should be doing that more in Omaha than in Hold'em, where this...
Absolutely, right. Because in Omaha, 4 cards is hard for everybody to miss. We see that you know, Carpenter miss, and Frankenberger knows that. But now he has to continue to bet Carpenter to actually might have a chance to win the pot, and it's going to be tough anyway. He's drawing dead.
Yeah, is he he's playing this like a hold'em hand then?
He did, at least at the beginning, but it's okay. Maybe he wants to impose himself as an aggressive player, and he might pay off later.
And Frankenberger's checked again. Now, my guess is he's checked to call almost all bets.
Correct.
That's 26,000.
I mean,
correct. Not even if he would have done pot, he probably would have taken it down.
I guess it's definitely reasonable to assume that Carpenter could still have aces here. He could have played aces this way, but it's not likely, is it?
He's going to call for sure here, 100% of chances of calling.
Though it is possible that Frankenberger is quite inexperienced at Omaha. I mean, I don't really know.
Even more that he's going to just call.
Right.
He's going to check call. He did that, by the way. And
he did, and he's won.
Got a nice 60,000 profit, which is not bad.
Back for more from the Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championship with Max Pescatore after the break.
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm in second place going in, and I still have my double up cards, so that's about all I can ask for at this point.
Well, every time I play poker, I play with my heart. You know, I'm going to go out there to play the best I can.
If I can get a first or a second today, then that'll put me in a good position to qualify.
I'm going to have to step it up and do really well in the next two heats, or in order to have a chance. So, you know, I'm looking to do that and gamble, and you know, try to like play for the win in this tournament.
This is it. Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of it anyway. Certainly, I can't afford to be one of the first two out, but you know, to not have a chance to go through to the final. But I like my chances in Omaha.
Welcome back to the first ever Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship. Our 12 players are competing in this unique league format that will see them play heats of No Limit Hold'em, Pot Limit Omaha, and Pot Limit Hold'em. The second half of the field is in action in their Omaha League match. Let's head back to the table.
400k pots in like the first 5 minutes.
When we look at this table, and as far as the double up cards and strategy, we know right now that both Frankenberger and Yevgeny Timoshenko, they're going to be the guys who have the card for that last heat. And so I guess a lot of eyes are on Sorel Mizzi and Ben Carpenter, because probably, obviously, they're thinking top 2 spots. But the reality is, if they get top 4 spots, there's a lot of scenarios where they can still have a chance. But if they're out 6th or 5th, the reality is almost certainly that they're out.
Right.
You know, I mean, we can see a couple of ways where maybe 12, 13 points could get through, you know, or even 10. But 8 points is not going to get you through.
Set 5 rounds. Set 5 plus. Set 6 cards.
Timoshenko's flopped a set here.
Yeah, finally someone we're going to see some action.
And Carpenter's got top and bottom pair. Is this, I mean, does he have any reason to get involved with this hand, Carpenter? Is it?
Yeah, he feels like he has a good hand, he'll bet, and he gets called, then it's, you know, the worst thing that can happen is the 5, of course, but, you know, it's not a hand that is going to go, anybody's going to go broke unless that happens, so that's actually a card that stops the action.
Right, it's given Ben the backdoor flush draw. Interestingly, Frankenberger would have hit his trade. He was in before.
But now Timoshenko needs to bet, and that's a correct thing to do.
Timoshenko's betting, and he's going to have to see the river no matter what. Even if Carpenter puts the maximum pressure on, you think?
Not necessarily. I mean, you can fold the second set in Omaha,
right?
Because you're definitely not committed. So if you would have done 128. Or 124, which was the perfect amount. But
well, backdoor flush just got there. And does Carpenter have a lot of reasons to bet this?
No. He'll check call. Or check because you don't have a reason to do it. 100,000 in the pot. Timoshenko might
check.
Yeah,
I got
check.
it.
That's fair. He's gonna feel pretty sick. KO.
He will feel pretty sick.
KO is gonna be KO this time.
That is good.
Let's take a look at how you played Pot Limit Omaha. In Omaha, each player receives 4 cards face down. These are known as hole cards. The action follows the same rules as Hold'em. Each player has the option to either call to match the big blind, to raise, or to fold their hand. Once all players have acted, 3 community cards are dealt face up on the table. These are known as the flop. Another round of betting follows. Players can either check their hand, which means no bet, raise a previous bet, or fold. Once the flop action is complete, another community card is dealt, the turn. Another round of betting follows, and the final community card, the river, is dealt. One more round of betting follows. Players are looking to make the best 5-card poker hand using their hole cards and the 5 shared community cards. The difference in Omaha is that each player must use precisely 2 of their 4 hole cards together with precisely 3 of the community cards to make their best hand. A hand can be won either by all other players folding to one player or by players showing down their cards and the best hand taking the pot. As it's pot limit, there is a cap on the betting and you cannot commit your whole stack. Players can only bet or raise an amount equal to or less than the size of the current pot.
Profitable. Not like what it is that you would like.
Definitely 10.
It's only been 11 hands. Timoshenko's lost about 50K max, and Frankenberger's on top.
It's a little ridiculous.
What's the starting?
It's funny. Timoshenko, I think one of the craziest hands I ever saw him play, probably he's ever played on television, is in the last Premier League when he turned the top 2 pair into a bluff and got Roland de Wolf off bottom set.
Say 5 races, 5 pounds.
For you to think you'd be profitable, you'd probably think like, yeah, 2K. Just give me 2K on that. I'll have like a 1% ROI.
Meanwhile, Mike Sexton raised it up.
There you go.
And this is the kind of hand Mike Sexton's going to raise it up with.
Nothing wrong with that. I love the aces 2 pair because it can be deceiving by flopping the other set.
I guess Mike is the kind of player obviously when he starts re-raising, you know he's got the aces, but I think these guys will just kind of put him on the aces automatically whenever he comes in.
No, they know he can do all kinds of tricks. I think it's a little bit too much of that, but I mean, here is a spot that he could have betted just because he has the ace-high flush draw too. So particularly he could have betted, but the pot is only 11. He doesn't want to lose any chips. He has the concept of the double up card, and he's still ahead. But
he's gonna keep pots small because it's smart too for the double up card. You're saying?
Yes, it's.
Well, then there's like the life.
And the question is, should Carpenter be betting this river? I think it'll probably get through, but should he be betting the river?
I know if he bets it, Mike might call just like I did with the King 6-6 because of the 2 blockers. So it's really hard to put him on a bet with 6-7.
And because he can't have 6-7, he's not value betting 2 pairs.
But then there was no 5-4 on the flop that you can even put him on that. So you have a 5-3 comes a 4, then he has to have perfectly 6-7. He has to be afraid of aces with a deuce.
Wow, Mike's capable of calling this?
Yes, it's a correct call.
He's raised it.
What do you mean he's raised it?
He raised it.
Why?
Mike raised him.
Because of the 2 7s. That's true. He's trying to. Yeah. I mean, he can say I'm gonna let down 2 pair, but I don't think he would have bet 2 pair anyway. Carpet. I think it's
a good raise.
It's okay. It's a good raise.
You like the call better, but it's a good raise.
Right. I mean, because 2 pair there is harder for them to bet because of the ace deuce mainly.
Yeah.
Because if you have aces, if you put someone on aces, you can have aces. So, but it's a good play no matter what by Mike. He didn't get scared and he, take down this pot, and it's huge for him to go to probably 330, something like that, 328.
That's Sexton. He's going to be tough. He is going to be tough. And Carpenter is the short stack, but there's not much in it.
Oh, 240 is okay.
I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Still, you cannot afford to lose too much because then you'll be like obligated not to bluff anymore and try to overbet every time you have something. So, I mean, we're at the first level.
Blinds are. This is the last hand of the first level. Blinds are going to
hand 21.
Yeah, that's a be up.
C5 pass.
And so far, it's been a pretty tight game, wouldn't you say? I mean, this.
It is. They're actually testing each other. They're like in a.
C6 pass.
Frankenberger there, to me that was a hand he played almost an identical hand, identical position earlier, and I think he's just decided, you know, this Feldman is on my tail, I'm going to have to tighten up a little bit.
This is a very bad hand, by the way. It's
9976s.
No, this one,
Feldman.
King 7,
Jack Deuce.
Jack Deuce, although he's double suited and although he has position, well, I guess compared to the one that he raised at the beginning, it's a monster, but it's not a very good hand, man. And this I like to actually limp. If you have position, because you know, if he gets re-raised, then it doesn't know what to do. And
he's got Mizzy and Timoshenko in the blinds.
Wow, what a flop.
You're going to start thinking different about these King Jack 7
I love this hand. I said it right away.
No, it's almost a perfect flop, and it's still got some danger. It's top 2 pair, but the flush draw is very weak, isn't it?
Yes, but
and what is Mizzy is just leading out here from the small blind. He's got no backdoor draws to speak of.
Forget about what I said about Mitzi being good.
Do you think this is a fairly poor play? Is it a bluff?
I don't understand it.
Because if he has backdoor draws, it's okay, the sort of thing, or?
Yeah, but there is too much out there. That's the thing. There is straights out there against 2 players. You can do this against 1 player to intimidate him, but here there is 2 players.
It was a small bet, but Feldman all over it. Raised
he
right
raised
away.
and he took it up.
Raise some pass.
Put down on another advice. Top pair in this game is not very good. Especially if there is a straight draw and flush draw out there.
Doesn't matter what your kicker is, really.
And you don't have any of the 2.
Do you think this leaderboard is a fair description of what's happened the first level, Max?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe it's a little bit too rewarding to Frankenberger, the big hand, but you know, for the rest, I think it's pretty fair, and Feldman deserved the chip lead.
And for Sexton, the one using double up card, he will be delighted with the way things are going so far, just where he expected to be. For Mizzy and Carpenter, who are 4th and 6th right now, I know they still have fine chips, but
the hand should be up in this.
All right, but for
so it's 2,000, 4,000 now.
Yeah,
so the blinds went up.
4,000.
Whatever, I want first or last.
To raise to 11,000.
Fortunately for Carpenter, he is in a spot where if he goes out 1st or 2nd, it's game over. It really is.
There was a phrase of a movie that kept saying, "If you're not first, you're last."
Must be Schwarzenegger.
No.
Was it Rounders? If it's not Schwarzenegger or Rounders, I haven't seen it. Carpenter's raised this, and Mike Sexton called. It's notable because Mike Sexton obviously hasn't called many hands. Is this a premium hand, small blind?
That is a very fine hand, and Frankenberger is also a very fine hand.
A very fine hand. It's like we're grading coins or something.
Yeah.
Fine, very fine, and excellent.
6 check. 6-2 check.
Now Carpenter will check, of course. Ooh, what a card for Carpenter. Set for Carpenter, but
card for everybody.
Huge draw for Sexton.
Yeah, he's got the complete wrap, and is Frankenberger thinking that he's got outs with the flush draw?
Yeah, what a hand. If he doesn't create action here, that means we're going to have like a 12-hour table.
Now, well, it looks like Frankenberger's leading out. Now, should Carpenter be raising?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. For several reasons. Okay. Now, let's say he decides to call. Now he gives all kinds of draws to everybody.
Right.
But if you raise, then only kings or nines will re-raise it, right?
Right.
Because nobody's going to have the...
So if he gets called, he knows that he's good right now.
Correct.
Which is important for him to assert, sort of.
Correct.
And he's gotten Sexton off the draw, which is also, it turns out to be
not too
quite
bad at
important.
all, because, I mean, half a deck. So.
6 pass.
And how should Frankenberger be thinking about his flush draw?
That's the problem. He passes because it was more of a stealing bet, because it's, of course, he cannot think that he checked behind and he hit the 8. So it was okay. Played by everybody. I think everybody played it quite well.
We'll be back with more action from the Playboy Club in London as the Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship continues after the break. Welcome back to the Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship from the Playboy Club in Mayfair. We'll be finding out who is the ultimate all-around poker player as our players battle it out in 3 different card games. Right now, it's the Omaha match for Group B. Let's get back to the table.
I'm in the box with Max Pescatori watching the Omaha.
Are you gonna leave like this commentating and go play after this is over?
Not Omaha.
What? What am I wasting all my knowledge to help you out?
I've got the itch now watching it. I think a lot of people who are watching do. It's a really exciting game when you start watching it.
There would be a race for sure here. I love those hands, by the way.
The ace queen, the ace picture 4 or 5 when the ace is suited.
Absolutely, yeah. Any card except for the 5 can be any card, but if it's suited with that, I really like it. Heads up, it's a beautiful hand.
Now this is interesting, I guess, because Sexton has what they call the blockers to the straight.
Not only, he also has a flash, so he should bet. He will.
And how should Timoshenko be thinking about this hand?
Difficult. Very difficult hand, and he probably gonna muck.
He's just got the king to the nuts. He's got a backdoor flush draw.
Top pair, but it's worth nothing. Is
the fact that it's blind on blind, does his top pair go up in value at all? No.
Yeah, a little bit, but not on that flop. Because, I mean, what are you trying to make? 2 pairs?
I don't know.
If you make 2 pair...
He's got the best hand right now.
The other one is going to make a straight 90% of the time. If you make a flush... Right, he made 2 pair. Good job.
So is he in a bit of trouble right now, Timoshenko, do you think?
It depends how much he bets.
C5 bet 25,000.
It's a good bus. Half a size, and so just to make Timoshenko thinking about it. That's why you don't call with top pair.
And is Timoshenko's problem here? Is he thinking, look, if I call here, I have to be prepared to call if my ace queen's good, I have to be prepared to call river bet, or is that not what he should be thinking now?
He calls, so that doesn't matter. He might not call the river if Mike bets another 60, but Mike might be smart enough to bet another 25, which would get him in trouble. He does not have to bet much to get a call.
This is...
Bets 50.
C5 bet 50,000.
He sure did.
It would be...
Right, if Mike has...
Of course it's easy for us, but I think it would be a bad call. You checked it, and that's actually a good fold.
So you don't think there were many bluffs there from Mike? You don't. You thought it was kind of unlikely.
A 3-barrel bluff? I mean... Yeah, Mike, I'm sure he's capable
No, it's
of
a good
doing,
point. If he's got the dry king, he's got a jack very often, doesn't he?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. I mean, you have a king, then you also might have a jack, so you don't need 3 barrels. That's why I would have liked better a 25k bet, because you know 100% of the time your opponent does not have a flush. So 25, then he's forced to call you because it's too humiliating to pass for 1/5 of the pot. I have to do that more often. Those 1/6 on the river with position and the nuts maybe. So someone repops it. I'm gonna do that in the final for you. You'll be like,
yeah,
hey,
there's a name. I'm trying to remember. There's a name for that, and I can't remember. But for Mike Sexton, obviously, a great spot. He's now very close to the chip lead. Loves that pot,
Yeah,
and
perfect for
everything's
him.
going according to plan. For Timoshenko, you know, if he looks at that pot in the context of the fact that he got a 0 last time, he's is it all or nothing for him right now?
From the last 10, it wasn't the best play that he could make. So we'll see if he kind of loses his cool.
Call 6-6.
Frankenberger splashes the pot like there is no tomorrow. And he has another nice hand.
We haven't seen a bunch of hands this nice yet. I think this is everybody's kind of got something, and a couple have hit this flop.
Mitzi.
Missy for sure with the royal flush draw. Sorry, the king high flush draw. Feldman's got a straight flush draw.
Seat 1 bet, 26,000.
And overall, look at that. Mizzy just tossed the king high. I mean, is this a good bet from Feldman in that he's got guys like Mizzy to lay down their hand and that sort of thing? Or
Seat 4 pass.
it seemed like a very ambitious bet.
It's a very strange bet. I mean, it could have gone either way. If he checks, Mitzi will bet it.
Oh, wow.
You sponsor the show, then you can get back on.
That's all I have to do, right? I bet anyone who's
Players still feeling their way into this Omaha heat of the Party Poker Premier League Poker Mixed Game Championship.
Poker Stars. Really? Poker Stars, I'm sure. Well, they
And
didn't sponsor it.
that's a bad hand for the short stack.
They were like,
Timoshenko will muck it.
said at the end, this hand is promoted by
Seat 4 pass. Seat 5.
Was it a paid
Feldman and Frankenberger showing the way so
Or
far.
was they paid for the airtime? I don't know.
I don't know what the...
Andrew's got that
Seat 1
Don Johnson thing going on.
2 cop and Norris.
Folded around to the blinds now. These two are quickly developing a relationship.
And there's a check dark as well.
So what's in America right now then? Like
I'm
poker-wise?
sure Ben Carpenter has heard a lot more about Sorel Mizzy
WPC.
than vice versa to this stage.
The only show. Only legal show.
It's a bet and call small blind to big blind flush draw for Carpenter. Two-way straight for Sorel.
Has the Epic Poker
And
League
he's
got
ahead
ratings?
with the 2
Done
jacks.
well. I've heard like some mixed things about that.
Seat 2 check.
We just have all these flops where someone is something, someone is nothing completely or almost.
This is an interesting hand because Carpenter check called the flop, and now Mizzy is
Betting again?
Yeah, this it's kind of, I guess it's kind of turned into a bluff, sort of. He's got the best hand, isn't it, though? But
Seat 2 call.
Yeah, there is not much in the pot. And figure I'm gonna.
No luck for you this the first.
That's the other thing. In pot limit, sometimes you think if someone is a really good hand, he has to raise. If not, he's not building enough pot to actually put it later on. So
now the
it's
question
bad
is,
card.
doesn't Mizzy have to?
He can pot here because he knows that the other one should not have Jack Queen.
Seat 3 bet, 22,000.
22.
Yeah, I think they kind of
disappointing me.
They're sort of leveling each other. Mizzy wants to bet him out.
Has it been for the first one then?
That looks like he wants Carpenter to think that this is the amount he'd bet for value, in a sense, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there is nothing hidden about that straight. It was King 10. If you have Queen Jack, you can clearly bet, and then when you get there, you can actually do pot. And it's not like your opponent is gonna say, "Oh, he doesn't have it." It was right there. What was he betting for?
So, do you think Carpenter should be calling this 2 pair?
I don't know. I mean, it's too easy to say.
He's trying to get a read. He's called it.
2 jacks.
He got it right. That's exactly what he expected. Fairly amazing, really.
I was trying to figure if you'd value the ace king. So trying to.
Yeah, I would. I bet.
Yeah,
I'd value bet anything. A7, A10, A10.
And I agree with him. I don't think he's joking.
No, I don't either. Sorrell said, you might have won the pop then, but it was a bad call. That's what he was saying.
For a long time, it's been like that.
We're back after the break with more from the Premier League Mixed Game Championship. Welcome back to the Party Poker Premier League Mixed Game Championship. 5 left around the table now as we head back into the Cottontail Lounge for all the action.
Let's not talk about that right now.
Are they trying to get that change?
For Ben Carpenter, obviously, every chip counts right now. He's
changing soon,
scrapping away.
But I don't think it will happen. I think we're safe for a long time. We'll all be off to Malta.
I can't imagine the US adapting your model. That's
how many total hands we're playing?
That's 0 chance.
Right.
In Group A, in the Group A Omaha, I think it was around 124. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is I think it was 1530 level, wasn't it?
Yeah, this one is going to finish definitely earlier. We dragged along forever for the joy of everybody.
Close to 10,000.
It was a nice, very strategic table.
It was very tactical, and obviously, you know, as the heats, as we progress, and especially in the last pot limit hold'em heat, which is going to be completely tactical, it could easily go down to the wire, just depending on who needs what to happen. Here we've got a situation, Max. Frankenberger's raised it with a suited ace, and all suits are now covered, basically.
Wow.
Especially if somebody turns up with the ace of diamonds suited. I'm sure we're going to see 3 diamonds on the flop because of that. All suits covered then.
Ooh. But that's a pair. He always stops the action, and especially Frankenberger has the 8 and a flush draw. But
it's a pretty big flop for Frankenberger. He's got the. This is definitely what he should be betting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He raised, yeah.
You have a flush draw, you bet.
And this pot should be over.
But let's remember, he checked the E7 in hold'em 2 times. If he goes in the final, I'm going to call him, hey, E7, what's going on?
Well, it's a good way, because he was a little bit upset with the critique that some people made about it.
He got defensive?
He's sticking to his guns. He really is. He's sticking to his guns.
There is nothing wrong to admit you're wrong.
Every once in a while, we all make stinkers, right? Even the best players.
Absolutely.
Even the best of us.
I made a bad comment in the hand, in one of the hands. So I admitted right after. I was like, it's okay to do it.
Ben Carpenter's raised this. It's 15 up to 34. It's a bold play. I guess in his mind, he said, look, Frankenberger raised pre-flop. He doesn't have the 8 here.
That's a good point. That's actually a good play strategic-wise. He's unlucky.
But now that he's gotten called, is he done? Is he very, very done?
He might be done, but the problem is that... Oh, wow, that's a killer. That's a killer for her Carpenter because, of course, he is drawing that now.
I mean, Frankenberger's thinking to himself, you know, could this guy have kings full? Could he have kings full? Would he ever have raised kings full on the flop? Frankenberger was,
surely that's a bad card because now you say, okay, he might have didn't have aces. I have an ace, so I have a flush draw, but then he bet. What did he call me with? 2 queens? It's impossible. So why is he calling me? I have a flush draw.
So Carpenter really should shut it down.
He's done. Yeah, he's done. If he knows anything, if you think about reason about the hand, he's done. And he correctly checked, by the way. He has a little bit of showdown value on top of it. Let's see if Frankenberger is gonna actually bet out, or maybe he's gonna try to pick up a bluff.
So interesting on the flop. I mean, if you don't know a lot about Omaha, I guess if you're in Frankenberger's shoes, you're not really sure when you're calling the raise on the flop. Are you trapping or are you worried about being beat, right? It's a weird spot, isn't it?
And really, sometimes you have no chance of knowing. You just have to wait.
Because
but the ace surely give you a help.
Right. Anyway, Andy's going to go for a value bet. I'm guessing this hand is just completely over.
Yeah, it's over.
57,000.
Certainly, Carpenter's not going to get himself knocked out in this spot.
No, but I didn't mind how he played so far, so I think he's good enough to.
Oh no! He's pushed him in!
Ouch!
71.
He's pushed them in, and now this is.
Yeah, I pot it or call.
Yeah, seat 2's gone all in. Seat 6 is called.
And Frankenberger hasn't even hesitated.
Wow,
now,
what a bad hand.
I don't know what the proper terminology is there. Just call or what?
What happened there? I mean, did Carpenter know what he was trying to get Frankenberger off of, Max?
I think he felt that.
Do you think he thought Frankenberger was bluffing? What was he trying to get Frankenberger to lay down?
Wow, I don't know, because I mean a naked 8. A naked 8.
You had King 8
and he would have probably got
King 8. He's saying.
It's aces, ace 8.
And Ben Carpenter is out, and then pretty much this is massive. He's kind of. It's not for sure yet, but there is every chance that he is out completely of this tournament.
First off the table is Ben, and it just really didn't go your way here today, did it?
No, I mean, I was trying to make a few moves early on. I obviously needed a first or a second, so I was willing to get it in like 50% for sure. I just wanted all the chips, you know, to get a first place, and ended up making a move against I shouldn't have done it. It's like inexperienced Omaha player, and I figured he had an 8 or like a low house, and I can rep like kings and possibly aces there, but he even with ace 8, which is a strong hand, it's definitely not the nuts, and the way he snapped all in, it just shows like I wouldn't have even got him off like a small house sort of thing. So, you know, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done it.
Blinds will be 3 and 6,000. Mizzy and Timoshenko still both over 30 big blinds. I noticed you didn't really hit the panic button until you had about 9 or 8.
I'm so curious to watch this show to see my aggression level and the hands that I played. But no, I never panicked.
Wow, look at Mizzy's hand.
That is a beautiful hand.
2, 3 race to
and
12,000.
I guess one of the things about Omaha is, as beautiful as a hand gets, it's still never as powerful as a hand could be before the flop and hold'em. Right?
Wow, let's look at this one.
So
this is a nice spot.
Do you see Timoshenko re-raising here?
No, that's not such a great hand.
You play it all the time, but you don't need to re-raise it.
Absolutely. You have position. What do you care? You have the button. So you just call and you play in position, and it's beautiful.
Frankenberger with a chance in the big blind. It's not
Frankenberger always have some decent hand that nobody else has.
It's a 3-card hand. So it's a 3-card straight.
It's
and
a
the other card.
Hand. Yes, it's not a very good hand, but
he is a scary
you're in the
guy.
big blind, and you have to put half, so it's okay.
We're going to have some action, I believe.
We should have some action. Top 2 for Mitzi and a gut shot, and Timoshenko has a flush draw, and but not the nut flush draw.
It's not the nut flush draw, but when there's an ace of hearts out there, isn't it less likely that someone has the king high flush draw than the ace? I mean, I don't know. He has to play this, doesn't he?
Absolutely, because you always expect someone, if they play correctly, to have the ace high flush draw, but you don't expect people to play the king high flush draw. So I think he will call. The only problem is that if you make a queen, then if he has king 10, you're done. But that's the only scare thing. But it's okay. But you have position. That's the thing. You have position against.
Looks like he's thinking of raising. And I mean, is there any benefit towards
calls?
Say 4 call.
Because when Mizzy comes and fires at this flop, he has to have something.
Well, and also he doesn't have that many chips. It's perfect to put 1/7 of your stack inside and look at the next card, and Mitz is under pressure, so there it is.
Great card for Timoshenko.
And now Mitz, let's see if he makes a mistake. If he pots,
yes, why would that
be in trouble?
Why would that be a mistake? How can he represent the king high flush draw?
Check.
Or does he need to?
It doesn't, but it would be a mistake because I don't think Timoshenko will put him on that. He will probably bet now.
In the same year, he not only won the 25,000 event at the Bellagio, but also the largest online buy-in tournament.
Really?
Yeah. He's
That's 39 and plus.
Could have done that from any point from like 1 second to 3 minutes, and the result would have been the same.
Sorrel said it didn't matter if you were doing that 1 second or 3 minutes from the time I checked. I was still passive. It's quite funny.
And that's quite a good player, not even getting the hitch of calling with ace-jack. He knew exactly where his opponent was.
He said it didn't.
Very unlucky so far, Sorrel, but playing as best as he
I'm
can.
going to be very clock happy from now on. That's just my rule of thumb, regardless of what happens.
I mean, Feldman's definitely slowed down, right? He's started.
He's
smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to do that. By doing that, you almost are guaranteed you're gonna go another spot.
And I feel like the players are kind of, if you think about Mike, Frankenberger, and Feldman, they all would be quite happy to see Sorrel, obviously Sorrel and Yevgeny bust in the next two spots. Right now, Sorrel and Yevgeny, they've got short stacks. They're going to have to make something happen.
Say 4 raised, 14,000.
Yeah, Timoshenko raised with a very legitimate hand. Ace King 10-6 with the ace suited. Ooh.
And is this, I was going to say, is this a spot now? I saw you limp a lot with, not limp, but just call raises with aces. Mike could have gone either way. Why the decision just to flat with the aces?
Here, it's almost questionable because, okay, the reason that you limp with aces is because if someone has the great idea to isolate or try to push Timoshenko around, then you have aces, nobody knows. Now you can go on a 3 or 4-way all-in, 3-way all-in with the aces. 14 was good enough for me to pot behind, especially because Timoshenko has only 190. But you do put yourself at risk to lose, and it's not what Mike Sexton is trying to do. He's trying to chip in his way. Timoshenko is afraid of him. So I like either way, if he would have raised or if he would have just called like he did. So it's good either way. It's just a strategy. Check, check. It's not a bad card for Mike.
No.
It's not a bad card at all for Mike.
Quite helpful.
Give him a little bit more of a...
I mean, theoretically, it didn't change anything, you know, unless Timoshenko had the other pair of aces.
But it gives you confidence.
Right, and it gives you the...
I don't know why, just give you a little bit of extra confidence that you have 3 sevens. You'll check call, of course, you're not going to go crazy.
Well, Timoshenko seemed to get himself in pickle. My feeling, Max, is that Timoshenko would have always bet 3 jacks on the flop. Do you agree? And so that this doesn't make a lot of sense? Or
it's okay though to put in a bet because you don't put Mike on aces, and so it's hard for put Mike on jacks, just like we said before. You know, the guy behind that checks the 3 of a kind is generally not likely. So I like Timoshenko bet, but now he has to give up.
Check.
Mike's pretty confident that...
Pretty confident, even bet it.
I bet this small. Very, very small. Not that it matters. Timoshenko's got nothing.
We saw before, it didn't. Carpenter went for a check raise.
He did.
Timoshenko is being owned.
Well, both him and Sorrel have gotten kind of eaten up. And, you know, it's not fun. They're going to have to make something happen. Over to Kara Scott now, who's catching up with Mike Sexton.
We're a few levels in, so describe for me the situation for you at the table so far.
Well, I feel pretty good. I'm the only one using the double-up chip for this tournament, but I'm very confident in my Omaha play and feel good about it. And, I was prepared for a long heat, so to speak, and, I knew it was going to be long and slow. So, things are going along fine so far.
We've only lost one player so far, and the blinds are going up, so it does create kind of an interesting dynamic in terms of chip stacks. Talk to us about yours.
Well, I think I'm okay. I don't even know what I got. At least average, a little above average. There's a couple shorter stacks, much shorter. So I'm happy with the things that are going so far. I feel like I played well so far, and hopefully it keeps going.
Blinds going up to 5 and 10,000. Still 5 players in. Mizzy and Timoshenko, though, when these blinds are 16 and 17 blinds respectively, and they have to be very, very careful about getting knocked out.
Next time, we'll see who takes down maximum points in Group B's Omaha match here at the Premier League Mixed Game Championship.
It's hard to connect in poker.
Not when you have 4 cards.
I'm either going to look like an absolute genius or the biggest donk.
You'll look good or he'll look good, one or the other.
I just hope I look like the genius.
Stop and go, man.
That is the trashiest hand I've played all day.
Can't imagine you could find a trashier one than that.
How do you like your spot, Andy?
I'm still crushing it.